It's been a little over a year since Apple released the AirPods 4 and AirPods 4 with ANC, and it's also actually been a while since I've used these for my everyday listening. And since I needed a break from using the AirPods Pro 3 for my daily use, I decided why not go back to these for just a little bit and see if these are worth buying in 2025. And honestly, I'm really surprised with how well these hold up today. In fact, I was this close to switching full time from the AirPods Pro 3 and over to the AirPods 4 with ANC. But there were just a few things about these earbuds that just kind of irritate me, and that's what I want to go over in this video. I'm going to be sharing 3 of the reasons why I really like the AirPods 4 with ANC, just 3 of the reasons why I almost switched to it. Maybe I'll pull them out of the shelf every now and then, but this is a bit of a complicated relationship, so let's unpack this, shall we? So first reason why I really like the AirPods 4 with ANC, even today, is the sound quality. I actually am really surprised with how good these sound. In fact, in the right environments, I find that I enjoy the sound quality of the AirPods 4 with ANC more than the AirPods Pro 3. Now, if you're looking strictly at the data, like our frequency response measurements here, you're gonna see a roll-off in the bass, sub-bass, and you're probably thinking, oh, that's not enough bass. Like, I love EDM and hip-hop and bass-heavy songs. Like, how could I possibly enjoy my music on these earbuds? Well, first of all, charts are a guide, not the final word in sound quality, so that's the first thing you need to keep in mind. The second is, after actually using these earbuds, again, in the right environments, like at the gym or in a relatively quiet room, these do produce a surprising amount of bass and sub-bass. You're not gonna feel your kick drums and bass synths as much on these earbuds compared to something like the AirPods Pro 3, but I thought it had just enough bass while listening to EDM songs just for most of my listening experience when I'm commuting or at work or when I'm at the gym. In most environments, these earbuds really do sound good. I also found that to my ears, these earbuds don't overemphasize the treble region as much as the AirPods Pro 3 does. I know in some songs like Dash Star by Knock 2, the AirPods Pro 3 would make some of the hats and cymbals sound a bit too shrill and kind of piercing in my ears. Never had that problem with the AirPods 4 with ANC. So don't judge the sound quality of these just by the charts. Trust me, they may provide more bass than you realize and more than the charts would say. And I was honestly quite content with these earbuds most of the time. I mean, at least in terms of sound quality. Second thing about these earbuds that I was surprised with is the fact that the ANC is a lot better than you'd expect in day-to-day use. Now, let's be clear here, let's be honest, the active noise cancellation performance of these earbuds are never going to be as good as something like the AirPods Pro 3 because it uses an unsealed design, no ear tips. While most people will find the unsealed design more comfortable to wear, it does come at the expense of having outside noise kind of leak in because you can't get a tight seal between the earbuds and your ear canal. In our lab test, the AirPods 4 with ANC was only able to reduce the loudness of outside noise by an average of 53%, whereas the AirPods Pro 3 can reduce the loudness of outside noise by an average of 90%. Now, although that does sound like a stark difference, and it is, I actually found that the ANC unit of the AirPods 4 canceled out just enough noise for my use case. For example, when I talk about the ANC with the AirPods Pro 3, I describe it as dangerously good because it is very effective, but it means that when I'm out in the street, I'm really not hearing any cars, and that can be dangerous. I have to use adaptive mode to make sure that I can still hear some of my surroundings. With the AirPods 4 with ANC, I can still hear the cars like coming by, but I don't have to crank my music to compensate for the street environment. It's actually just the right amount of ANC that I personally want when I'm out and about and I need to be cognizant of my surroundings, because, you know, who wants to get run over? Now, when I'm on the Vancouver subway, which we call the SkyTrain, it also isn't that bad either, especially if I'm riding the newer subway cars. But on the older SkyTrain cars, yeah, the screeching can get a little loud. I have to turn up the volume to compensate for the outside noise. But when I take off the AirPods 4 with ANC, I'm surprised with how much noise it was actually able to cancel out. So again, for daily commutes and daily use, I think the ANC unit is just fine. It's gonna be okay. And plus, it is good practice to be just a little aware of your surroundings. And because these earbuds are also not so far into my ear canal, yeah, they are a little bit more comfortable than the AirPods Pro 3. And this leads me to the third thing that I really like about the AirPods 4 with ANC, and it's the fact that it is the most comfortable AirPods I have ever used. And I don't say that lightly because I'm not usually a fan of unsealed designs. I didn't like the design of the AirPods 1, the AirPods 2, the AirPods 3. I don't really think I like the design of the original AirPods Pro, and I tolerate tolerated the design of the AirPods Pro 2. The AirPods Pro 3 are the best AirPods Pros, but they still slide out of my ears. For some reason, again, despite being unsealed, the AirPods 4 with ANC, on the other hand, are the first AirPods that don't actually fall out of my ears. And I've used these during some intense workouts where I'm doing pull-ups, or if I'm benching, or if I was doing some cardio. Like, these did not fall out of my ears. And again, because it's unsealed and they're not jammed into my ears, I don't get that plugged up feeling in my ears, and so it is really comfortable. Like, damn, these are way more comfortable than I thought. Now, fit is subjective, and this may not apply to you. You might not agree. I know some people who are in this office and do not like the fit of the AirPods 4 with ANC. But unfortunately, it's just how it goes with the fact that we all have different ear anatomy. For me, I like the shape. It is probably the best fitting pair of AirPods for my ears. But if you want to be sure if these are going to fit you well, go to the Apple Store. I highly recommend you try these out. But in my case, yeah, I am quite a fan of the design of the AirPods 4 with ANC. Now, of course, these earbuds aren't perfect, and there are 3 reasons why I unfortunately am not switching to these earbuds full time. For starters, the ANC, while it might be good for things like a daily commute, walking down the street, etc., it might be good for that, but it's not going to be great for all scenarios. For example, if you're on a road trip and you just really want to quiet like a loud car and all the external noise, like other earbuds are going to do way better in terms of active noise cancellation because other earbuds usually have a sealed design. I don't ever see myself trying to use this on a plane. Yes, it should be able to quiet out some noise, but when I'm on a plane and those loud engines are going as I fly to my destination, I want to cancel as much noise as possible. So I'm either wearing a pair of over-ears or I'm popping in the AirPods Pro 3 with ANC. Wait, AirPods Pro 3 with ANC. Sorry, AirPods Pro 3. All these names are just so fantastic. So in terms of ANC, it's impressive for an unsealed design, but it's not by any means like class leading, market leading, whatever. If you want to cancel out the most noise possible, or you find yourself working in very busy environments, this might not be the pick to go with. Second, I kind of miss the hearing aid features. I kind of think that there was a missed opportunity to at least have the hearing protection features on the AirPods 4 with ANC, because what I really loved about the AirPods Pro 2 and the AirPods Pro 3 is that you can use hearing protection to quiet loud environments, such as in a concert. Like, I've used the AirPods Pro 2 at raves and concerts, and it was such a great experience. I really wish that Apple would enable at least the hearing protection on the AirPods 4 with ANC, because I think it would be the perfect combination for me. These stay in my ears, they don't slip out like the AirPods Pro 2 or 3 do with intense movement, and it doesn't cancel out all the noise, so even just a little bit of attenuation to keep my hearing protected would have been nice. But I guess hearing protection is a feature they're using to differentiate the AirPods 4 with ANC from something like the AirPods Pro 2 or AirPods Pro 3. A man can dream. I wish they would put some of the hearing protection features on their AirPods 4 with ANC. I think that would just be such a great combination. Like, get rid of live translation. We know this is capable of doing that. I would rather get the hearing protection just so that I could have some quasi earplugs without buying earplugs. And my last point, it's a bit of a nitpick, but it is also somewhat valid in my opinion. And it's the fact that despite having a similar stem to the AirPods lineup, you don't get swipe controls, which means you cannot control volume on the device. If you want to control volume, you have to either do it through Siri, which is a ridiculous thing to do, because who wants to say, "Hey Siri, turn the volume down. Hey Siri, turn the volume down. Hey Siri, turn..." No one's doing that. Or you can use your phone, which means you gotta like finagle your pockets a little bit if you're not holding it, or use your Apple Watch if you have one. It is one of those things where it is both not a big deal, but a very constant irritant, like irritating quality about these earbuds. Because if I'm at the gym and I'm holding like a 50-pound dumbbell, I would like to be able to just turn down the volume from the earbud. Like, how is volume swiping a pro feature? Why didn't they put it on this? Honestly, I think that is more of an annoying feature than the fact that it has an unsealed design and its ANC isn't as good. I really wish Apple just put volume swiping on these earbuds. Oh man. Seriously, what a shame. Again, you might think that's like not a big deal because yes, we can just hit the button on our phones. But when I'm coming from the AirPods Pro 3 and the 2, which let you just adjust the volume swipe, it gets really, really annoying that Apple chose to do that. I don't think this is a technological limitation. Apple just chose not to put the same sensor, the same force touch sensor on this earbud. I'm getting really riled up about a volume swipe thing. And that just shows how annoying it is to me. Because I really think these could have been my everyday commute earbuds if it weren't for the fact that, yeah, it just doesn't have volume swipe. What do you think? Do you think that's like, do you agree? Am I making a big deal about this? You leave a comment down below, because I really think that's just one of the most like Apple things they've done with this, is the fact that minor convenience is just not there just cuz. But anyway, to summarize my thoughts, if you're wondering if the AirPods 4 with ANC are still a good buy even today, a year later, yes, they are still good, so long as you're willing to settle on those compromises. Those being the fact that you're not getting the best ANC performance for the price, the fact that you're not going to be able to control the volume on the earbuds, and the fact that, you know, you don't get hearing aid features. But I guess you get live translation, so good for you. So if you were thinking about AirPods, you don't mind the unsealed design, honestly, this is definitely worth considering. It's still good to use, and you know, maybe one day I'll get over the fact that you can't volume swipe on these earbuds, and maybe I'll switch to these full time. But for now, I'm gonna be sticking with the AirPods Pro 3. Just because that ANC is ridiculously good. But if you are curious as to how the AirPods 4 with ANC stacks up against the flagship AirPods Pro 3, then make sure to check out this video right here.